Patrick Carpentier was a popular winner at the airport circuit in Cleveland, and this week the Kart FedEx Series is back on the West Coast in Carpentier's homeland, Canada. The beautiful city of Vancouver plays host to round 10 of the championship. The drivers will have little time though for sightseeing in this popular tourist destination or to enjoy the many different sporting facilities on hand. The balls are still up in the air as the race for the title continues. The Kart FedEx Championship Series, the fastest racing on earth. But one driver who's definitely setting a record here this weekend is Michael Andretti, celebrating his 300th start in the Kart Championship. The most successful active Champ Car driver has seen many changes over the years.
Lots happened between those races, you know, when you look at the changes of everything, it's just, it's pretty amazing.
When you talk about changes, highlight some of those. What do you think are some of the most significant changes?
I don't know, I think just if you look at how big racing has become, and also you look at the race cars now, you look at them then, you know, when I started out, and they look like dinosaurs, you know, it's just amazing. It's amazing that, you know, I look at them, I think, God, I can't believe I drove those things, you know, they look so dangerous, you know, the way it was all put together and everything, and you just look at the way everything's evolved from the safety standpoint, everything's just amazing.
He also created headlines this past week when it was revealed he has bought Team Green, and from next season on, the organisation will be known as Andretti Green Racing.
You know, right now we're in very critical time for the team, you know, trying to get sponsors together and everything for next year, because, you know, now I have a responsibility, not only to my own career, myself, but also to 80 other families, so yeah, you feel it, but, you know, I'm up for it. I think we have a really good opportunity to do some great things here, and I just can't wait to get going.
Has it changed anything immediately in the team?
Well, Michael says I've got to let him through in the races now, but no, nothing's changed right about now. You know, everything's going to remain the same, I think, until the end of the season, and then we'll, all the new stuff is going to happen.
Another change this week is the return to racing for Oriol Servia. The Spaniard takes over the Vistion Patrick Racing Toyota from rookie Townsend Bell for the next 5 races.
Obviously, it's good. It's good to be here. It's good to be driving the Vistion car. We had a small problem on the shift cut, and the setup, it's good, but it's not perfect for the conditions today, but I'm so happy to have these problems again, you know. It's been too easy to walk around and not have any problems with the setup, or always trying to make the car faster, and that's my job, and that's what I like, and it's good to be back, yes.
Hello from British Columbia here in Canada, Concord Pacific Place, Vancouver. It is the downtown street race. This is the Molson Indy Vancouver. Hello, I'm Lee Diffie, joined by Jeremy Shaw. This is round 10 of the Kart FedEx Championship Series, and a lot of excitement surrounding this race. There is a phenomenal crowd in attendance. 94,000 in the 2 lead-up days attended, and we have got a great crowd here today. The weather is a little dubious, however. It is quite cool, 14 degrees Celsius, a slight breeze, quite high humidity, but there is a chance of rain, and Jeremy Shaw, those clouds are coming in.
Yeah, they do seem to be. Certainly this morning it was pretty clear, and the last couple of days have been nice and sunny, basically, but this afternoon, yeah, a lot of cloud cover, and you never know here in the BC area, it could well rain at any time.
The man we talk about, the man we've been talking about for the majority of the year, is that guy right there, the diminutive Brazilian Cristiano de Mata. As we take a look at the championship points, this is why we've been talking about him a lot. 121 to 70. With that bonus point for pole position, he now has a 51-point margin over Bruno Junqueira. Frank Kitty stands alone in third, but it is so tight further back. There's 51 points from first to second. There's 13 points from third to 11th. It is so close. We will go green very soon, and this is going to be a long, hard race, 100 laps, as we check out how they line up for the Molson Indy Vancouver. Cristiano de Mata, his 5th pole of the season, a new qualifying lap record, and his best qualifying performance here on the streets of Vancouver. And Paul Tracy, like he did in Toronto, outside the front row and just 1.5 tenths behind de Mata. Back to row 2, position 3, Dario Franchitti says he has a great car this weekend, and he repeats his qualifying performance of 3rd. He starts along last year's Rookie of the Year, Scott Dixon, who has been very quick, very consistent all weekend, and equals his best qualifying of the year in 4th.
On row 3 of the grid, Michael Andretti making his 300th start. That's a record in kart competition. It's also his 5th place on the grid. That's his best qualifying, or equals his best qualifying of the grids of the year so far. Tony Kanaan alongside, he's still looking for his first top 5 finish of the season. Moving back to row 4, we see Christian Fittipaldi. His best finish here on the streets of Vancouver, a third place in 1996. 6 years ago, alongside Alex Tagliani. He's the fastest of the Ford Cosworth contingent, making his 50th Champ Car start this weekend.
Rolling it back to row 5, and Jimmy Vasser in the Shell Rahal Ford. It's his first top 10 qualifying effort here in Vancouver in 5 years, and Jimmy V is in search of his 100th top 10 finish. And look at this, live pictures. Michel Jourdain Jr. has spun on one of the outlaps.
That's a bit embarrassing. Michel Jourdain Jr. had all sorts of problems in qualifying yesterday. Tried both cars in the second session of qualifying. Finally qualified in a backup car. In actual fact, they switched back to the primary car this afternoon.
Back behind Vasser and Brack is Adrian Fernandez, row 6, position 11th. He was last in Friday qualifying and certainly found a lot more yesterday. And Bruno Junqueira, the Brazilian, he is sore, he is beaten and battered after several crashes, and it's the first time this year he's qualified outside the top 8.
Back on row 7, Shinji Nakano, last time out on a street course, that was in Toronto, a career best 4th place finish. Alongside him, Tora Takagi, he struggled all weekend. On row 8 of the grid, Aurel Servia back in a Champ Car after 6 races out, replacing Townsend Bell at Patrick Racing. Alongside him, well, 2 weeks ago, Patrick Carponche was a hero. He won in Cleveland. Then on this, he came here, crashed yesterday morning, had to switch to the backup car for the final qualifying session. Way back and 16th on the grid.
And to the final row of the grid, the guy in question, Michel Jourdain Jr., there last on the starting grid. He was 6th in qualifying 1, but then had all kinds of niggly problems yesterday. It's an all-Mexican last row. Mario Dominguez shares that with him as well. So the cars roll. That's how they'll line up for the Molson Indy Vancouver.
Here is a look at the Vancouver racetrack. Start-finish line there over to the right-hand side. Turn 1 and 2 and 3, very, very tight there. Turn 5, that's absolutely flat out. They reach the top speed on the straight before turn 6, over 180 miles an hour. Turn 6 is probably the best overtaking opportunity on this racetrack. However, you can also use turn 6 to set up a car and maybe make a pass into turn 7. Turn 10 is the slowest part on the racetrack. Turn 11, a very fast left-right chicane leading into the quick final corner in turn 12. A very demanding and very challenging racetrack.
Word from the Gigante pit, simply a cold tyre situation. So quite an embarrassing situation for Michel Jourdain Jr. He'll be a little frustrated with himself, but that new nose cone will go on, and plenty of time to catch up to the back of the field as they roll around. Time to take a look at the circuit analysis. We've got 18 cars starting 100 laps, and that's a good talking point because the drivers know how physically demanding this is. It's quite a rough and bumpy circuit. Certain patches have been resurfaced, and that's nice and smooth. The key fuel range figure to look at every 32 laps. Jim Swintel said that there's only a very short space for them to pack up. He's looking for them to get there as quickly as they can, and if he has the first 2 to 3 rows packed up, he'll throw the green and let them go. Do we see green? We certainly do. Vancouver is go. They dive to the inside. D'Amata holds it. Frank Kitty. Oh, and we've lost Michael Andretti. His 300th start, and he spins on the outside of turn 1. Vasser and one of the target cars in there as well.
That's unbelievable. Jimmy Vasser, I should have made a count actually of how many times he'd been spinning off on the first lap of the race. Incredible number of times this season. So at least 4, and there he is off again in contact. I think that was probably with Kenny Brack. They started alongside each other on the 5th row of the grid. Michael Andretti appeared to spin out on his own, and we're going back to yellow one more time. And boy, yes, Cristiano D'Amata, he got the hammer down once again. He pulled out a pretty good lead. He had the inside line ahead of Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy content, I think, to tuck in behind him. But we're going to go yellow now, and the Team Cool green cars were in 2nd and 3rd, and there is Kenny Brack. And both Kenny and Jimmy just seem to have had all sorts of first lap disasters this year.
And Brack, let's have a look at this. Watch for Andretti a little further back in the field. Canaan dives for the inside. Frank Kitty had Dixon's measure. Now watch this. Fittipaldi, does someone get into the back? Fittipaldi gets into the side, and Tagliani gets into the back of Michael Andretti, pushing the Motorola driver off to the outside of turn 1. Here's the overhead view. Watch to the right of your screen as they all jostle for position. Definitely Fittipaldi making contact with Michael Andretti. It was fairly tight there, and Tagliani was nudging in from behind as well. Watch this overhead. Talk us through, Jeremy. This will give us a better look.
Yeah, here and on the full throttle here, and you can see the first couple of rows are lined up neatly, and that's Tony Kanaan to the inside behind those. Here he gets a concertina move. Fittipaldi there just breaks too deep. He has to go to the outside to avoid Tony Kanaan, but unfortunately Michael Andretti was already there, and you can see there that incident farther behind, and Jimmy Vasser and Kenny Brack got together as well. But boy, Kenny Brack is out of the race, and just amazing. Another disaster for Vasser and Breck.
Cristiano D'Amato should see the green this time by. He certainly does. Here we go. Let's see if we can get a clean run this time round. They're spread out. D'Amato got the jump beautifully. Tracy follows through in second. Frank, Kitty, Dixon, Kanaan, the top 5 remain the same. All remain the same. Now Tracy will be trying desperately to stay with the little man. Back up to speed. And those front 2 guys have got a tremendous jump over Frank Kitty and Dixon.
A great restart there by Cristiano D'Amato. Look at him. He's put the hammer down already. He's pulled away from Paul Tracy. You know that Paul Tracy is going to try something if he possibly can on cold tyres. He is a master of running fast right away on cold tyres before the tyres get properly up to temperature. But this time around, Cristiano D'Amato is his equal and more. He's able to pull out at the front of the field.
Well, as you've seen, we've already lost one of our top competitors out of this race, Kenny Brack. Hi, Kenny, it's Lee Diffie in the commentary box. Things just a little tight down there in turn 1, were they?
Well, there's no room when the car spins and then go backwards. You know, there's no room to go back, to go around. I was on the outside, and that's where I got caught.
And the 2 players' cars made their stop nice and early, as soon as they could, right on lap 4. They may work their strategy in reverse to the front runners if the front runners stretch it all the way to lap 32. Their last fill will be very close to the finish if they decide to play it that way, stretching the pit windows. Dixon has spun. Scott Dixon has spun, and wow, this is looking very similar to the Bruno Junqueira situation. That is exactly, well, there was a problem with the uprights on Junqueira's car, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, and that's looking very similar.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's, I don't know. I mean, they've changed supposedly to the standard uprights on that car. All the target cars have changed the uprights, and it's the right front. Clearly, it's broken there. He's spun at the exit of turn 6. There isn't a wall on the inside of the corner there in turn 6, so I think it doesn't look like there's any damage to the outside of that tyre, so it doesn't really look as if it's hit anything. Here's a replay again coming down into turn 6. There it is. Wow. It's the same problem that Bruno Junqueira had. The right front broken. Scott Dixon just did a sensational job there of keeping that car away from the wall. I think it was the same thing as Junqueira. As he turned into the corner, the suspension broke, and that was just an amazing job car control by Scott Dixon to keep the car away from the wall.
Back under full course caution for the 3rd time today in 10 laps. And that is just uncanny. How... That is virtually a repeat of the Bruno Junqueira situation, minus the huge crash into the concrete barrier, then tyre barriers. So Dixon, a very, very lucky driver indeed, and what a great job to bring that car to rest where it is. And what a shame when the young New Zealander qualified so well and was running at the front. Here's the replay, watch. And to keep that off the concrete wall there, they are doing speeds of around 180 miles per hour, just shy of 300 kilometers an hour. And for Dixon to bring that to a halt and to wrestle that car around was fabulous. Onto the main straight, here we go. It's been a very eventful start to Molson Indy Vancouver. And whilst D'Amato broke away and got a magnificent restart last time round, it's Paul Tracy who holds on to the fastest lap of the race so far. D'Amato, Tracy, Frank Kitty, Kanaan, Fittipaldi, the top 5. As they stretch their legs out of turn 5, heading up the long back straight, exceeding 180 miles per hour and into turn 6. This is the area where Dixon lost it. Up back around the support pit area, off to the right-hand side there. A long, continual right-hand arc before they get back on the gas and head down this short, fast, very shoot into turn 9.
Great view here from on board Paul Tracy. You can just see a glimpse of Cristiano D'Amato ahead of him, and once again Cristiano gets the hammer down. We're coming now down into this final chicane, over the curbs on both sides of the road, then left-handed here, very quick corner here, up into 4th gear, up into 5th gear, down the start finish straight, down the gears again, down into turn 1, right-handed here in turn 1, a long double apex right-hander, then sharp left there at turn 3, now a short shoot, right-handed again, all in second gear here. Now we'll go up through the gearbox. There we go, third, fourth, fifth gear, coming up to turn 5, turn 6 gear just before it. Short shift a little bit right before that turn. This is the fastest part of the course, up into 7th gear, I think that was. They're using 7 speeds here, all the way down the gears now. This is turn 6, that's where suspension broke on Scott Dixon's car. No such problems, I believe, for Paul Tracy. This is past the support race pits here, down into turn 7. Again, another long, sweeping, right-handed corner. And again, here we are back, an overall view of the car. Paul Tracy here in second place through turn 9. Now the very tight section around Science World here. So a left and a long right, left again, and up here into the very quick chicane. Over the curves there goes Cristiano, bang, over the curves goes Paul Tracy, left-handed again. That's a lap of the Concord Pacific Place here in Vancouver.
At the top of your screen, we've lost 3 drivers from the race already. Vassar and Brack with contact turn 1 in the opening stages of the race, and Scott Dixon in a very scary moment at the end of the back straight, entering turn 6, suspension failure, forced him out of this one. So as they find their rhythm, the Mexican Mario Dominguez is having a nice run at the moment. Currently sitting inside the top 10 after qualifying on the last row of the grid. The onboard shot from Patrick Carpentier's car, the Cleveland winner. And you can see the clouds there hanging around the Concord Pacific Place, the rear shot from Alex Tagliani's car. But they seem to have lifted since the beginning of the race, but they are hanging around. We've had lovely weather here during the week. This has probably been the worst day and certainly the coolest day as far as temperature is concerned. Time round, 31 laps complete. They must come in by lap 32. We've got 3 guys further down the field on the same strategy. Carpentier, Tagliani and Servia, they all pitted on lap 4, so they'll be in on lap 36, so just a few more laps down the road. But our front runners, the main guys in this race, they will be in next time round.
A quick lap that time for Paul Tracy, his fastest lap of the race, 61.793, actually a couple of tenths quicker than Cristiano Domada managed. So he's pulled out that gap from me. Was 5 seconds, now down to 4.5 as we're coming up to the first round of pit stops. But Dario Franchitti unable to match that pace at all, almost a whole second slower last time around.
And we'll monitor this margin as Cristiano Domada comes through the very slow 45-mile-an-hour turn 10. He will come straight on here into pit lane. And at this point in time, he has a 4-point-second lead over Paul Tracy. So we'll monitor that at the end of this first round of pit stops. The order is Domada, Tracy, Franchitti, Canaan, Fittipaldi, the top 5. 2 Team Cool Green cars and both Newman Haas Toyotas in the top 5.
And the gap back to Patrick Carpentier, who's a long way back from the last guy. Shinji Nakano is 8th. The gap from Nakano back to Patrick Carpentier is 9th. Is a good 16 seconds. The gap from the race leader Domada back to Carpentier, 42 seconds. So Domada, by my reckoning, should be able to get back out onto the racetrack without losing that lead. And in fact, there he goes.
Tracy has already been serviced. You're looking at Dario Franchitti there. He is still in pit lane. And the man who has dominated this race from the green back out on track. Close one for Fittipaldi. Just gets out in front of Tony Kanaan. That's handy work. Couldn't get the position on track. So Fittipaldi gets it in pit lane. And his Lilly Newman Haas pit crew have been dynamite on stops this year. And
that slow car you saw there was Mario Dominguez. He is back out on the racetrack, going very slowly, as you can see, and just doing his best to keep out of the way at this stage. He's about, what, 7 or 8 laps down. There's Tora Takagi making a pass down the inside of Major and Fernandez. And here also Alex Tagliani trying to make a pass as well. Does so down in turn 6.
And Michel Jourdain Jr. has got past Oriol Servia. So whether Servia was held up, whether he and Tagliani were having a good fight around the back, and Jourdain has taken advantage of that situation.
Tell you what, the front of the pack, Paul Tracy is a heck of a lot closer to Cristiano Domada than he was before the pit stops. He's pulled a couple of seconds from that deficit.
Exactly 2 seconds, Jeremy, from 4.6 to 2.6. They come around onto the main straight to complete yet another lap, and we will see both players' cars and the Vistion Patrick Racing Toyota of Serbia in very shortly. Here's the revised order: D'Amato, Tracy, Franchitti, Carpentier, Fittipaldi, Canaan, Tagliani, Junqueira, Jourdain and Serbia the top 10. Out of this race, if you've just joined us, this is the Molson Indy Vancouver. We've lost Kenny Brack, Jimmy Vasser and Scott Dixon, and I would say in a matter of time we'll also lose Mario Dominguez with an electrical problem. He was going very, very slow on the circuit just a few moments ago. This is Christian Fittipaldi, maintains 5th position. Has been battling with Tony Kanaan for the majority of the race. Didn't get him on the track, but certainly got him in pit lane. But Patrick Carpentier running on a different strategy to these guys. He came in as early as possible, as early as he was allowed on lap 4. And he will be coming back in by lap 36. The 32-lap mandatory pit window. Second place, Paul Tracy, and he has taken an enormous amount, 0.8 of a second out of D'Amato in that last lap. Here comes PT, 1.8 seconds the margin now.
Yeah, I wonder whether the Team Cool Green just conceivably might have put a little less fuel on board Paul Tracy's car. We've got from here to the end of the race, you've got a big margin in which you can make your pit stop, so there's no real need to put a full tank of fuel in the car right then, at least not if you're chasing. If you're Cristiano D'Amato, you might as well put all the fuel in because you're out in front in any case, and he had a big enough lead so that he was able to maintain.
Oh no! Tora Takagi looks on the inside of Michael Andretti. That was an ambitious move, too ambitious, and slams the Motorola driver into the tyre wall at turn 6. That move was never on from Takagi.
Oops.
And in his 300th Champ Car start, Michael Andretti has been taken out.
And he is not going to be a happy camper, let me tell you.
We are under full course caution for the 4th time.
Here's a good move by Cristiano D'Amato. Brindleck, he and Tracy had a pretty big lead, so he's brought that car onto pit lane, and that's an interesting strategy, isn't it? He's brought the car onto pit lane, so he can now go the distance with, that was 4 laps after his last pit stop, so he can go to the end from now on just 1 more pit stop.
Franchitti follows with a similar move. We are about to see green here at Concord Pacific Place, Vancouver. And the man in the green car sees the green first. Paul Tracy leads the field for the first time today. Down into turn 1, Junqueira's right on Fittipaldi there as well, further down for 6th and 7th. So it's Tracy, D'Amato, Franchitti, Carpentier, who's worked a great strategy with team players today. Canaan, Fittipaldi, Junqueira, Jourdain, Serbia and Nakano, the top 10. Let's see what Tracy has in answer to D'Amato. And Team Green have told Paul, do not worry that D'Amato has come in again. We believe we've got more options with strategy than he. Meanwhile, Paul Tracy must be coming in this time round. Last time he pitted on lap 32, must pit by 64, and that is coming up right now.
Yes, he is. Here he is now. This is into pit entrance here, down to 50 miles an hour, the speed limit along pit lane, all the way along pit lane at the 50-mile-an-hour limit. His pit is about 3/4 of the way down. It's actually just in front of our booth. There goes Cristiano D'Amato to take the lead on the racetrack. Here is D'Amato turning into turn 1. Here comes Franchitti, and now here is Paul Tracy, and the team goes to work
as fast and as efficiently as they can to service their man and get him out there before he drops too many positions.
Excellent work there by Team Cool Green. And are they going to get him out ahead of the 4th place car of Tony Kanaan? I think they might have done.
Christian Fittipaldi is slowing, yes, the Lily car. He missed the chicane there, went on the runoff, and is going quite slowly. And so too is Cristiano D'Amato. D'Amato is slowing.
Boy, both Newman Haas cars at just about exactly the same time have got a problem. We can hear a car without any motive power there. It looks like maybe the clutch is gone. There's no drive to that car, if that's the car we're listening to. There comes Tony Kanaan there to go past the stricken Newman Haas racing car as Christian Fittipaldi comes into pit lane. There goes Dario Franchitti, and he is into the lead of this race. It sounded there was no motive power behind behind Cristiano Domata. The lack of gears for some reason there. And Dario Franchitti now, the last couple of weekends. Boy, look at that. There's Fittipaldi out of his car. Within seconds of each other, the new Haas team is out of this race.
Well, look at this. Your new race leader, Dario Franchitti. His good friend Tony Kanaan joins him in second, and teammate Paul Tracy is in third. What a turnaround in a matter of seconds. Both Newman Haas Toyotas coming to a halt at exactly the same time. There is the championship leader, Cristiano Domata, 2 DNFs in a row. And the word from Cristiano Domata's radio, it's gearbox. He said, I tried first to fifth and nothing.
Yeah, we can hear him fishing around for gears out there on the racetrack, and absolutely nothing there. That is just incredible that both cars should go out within seconds of each other. Yeah, this is lap 68. This is when all these guys have to come onto pit lane to make their final pit stops. 32 laps from the previous stop, 32 laps to the end of the race. Here is the race leader on pit lane.
They did a great job with Paul Tracy not long ago. This time it's Dario's side of Team Cool Green to go to work. He's been on the podium plenty times this year, but yet to score a win. He's been on pole. This could be Dario's day.
There is Tony Kanaan. His crew is going to work as well. No None Racing. As there we see Paul Tracy has retaken the lead of this race, but of course he at some stage does have to make his final pit stop.
So 32 laps left to run here at Concord Pacific Place. And the most dramatic of turnarounds in this race, losing both Newman Haas Toyotas on the same lap. Christian Fittipaldi is with us now. Christian, what's the story? What happened?
We broke a drive shaft.
Frustrating stuff. You were having a great run.
Well, yeah, we were having a pretty decent run. We did a small mistake on the second stop. It was a pretty slow one, and I lost 2 positions. Apart from that, I think if I would have run until the end of the race, would have finished probably in the top 3 or 4. The car was handling pretty good. It went well this morning. But there's not a lot to say. On to the next one.
Yeah, you were having a great scrap with Tony Kanaan, and while we speak, Bruno Junqueira has run into trouble. Thanks, Christian, for your time. We'll see you at Mid-Ohio.
Thank you. Out there.
Junqueira slows. And what a...
Look! The left front wheel is all awry. Another suspension problem for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. You've got to... Whoa! That's a race leader!
No, that's Paul Tracy. Yeah, it is. Yes, yeah, you're right.
Wow! What is Junqueira doing? He's wandering around in the middle of the racetrack, and you've just got to hope there's no damage to that Team Cool Green car of Paul Tracy. They certainly seemed to make contact, didn't they, Lee?
Yeah, they did, yeah. Rubbed wheels. There was smoke that came off. Paul Tracy continues on. We look at the front left of his car. It's a little difficult to see. But Bruno Junqueira, that's 1, 2, and 3 gone for Target Chip Ganassi.
And that's the 3rd suspension failure in the weekend for Bruno Junqueira. Here's another look at him. There's Junqueira absolutely in the middle of the road and clearly struggling. That is not good driving for Bruno Junqueira. He should have got that car out of the way. He knew he had a problem. That's why he was going slowly. If you're going slowly, you can get out of the way. I'm not very impressed by Bruno Junqueira. Generally, I'm very impressed by Bruno Junqueira. He's a very bright young man. He's a heck of a racing driver, but that was not a smart move to stay in the middle of the road.
It may have also caught Paul by surprise a little too, Jeremy.
Sure, it caught Paul by surprise, no doubt about that, but it's up to Bruno Junqueira with a crippled car to get out of the way.
Well, they go to work on it. It may not all be over for Bruno Junqueira, and they send him. But at the moment, it remains the same. The 2 Team Cool Green cars, 1 and 2. As was the case in Cleveland before Patrick Carpentier's win. Well, the situation's the same here in Vancouver. The only active Champ Car drivers in this series to have won on the streets of Vancouver are Paul Tracy, Dario Franchitti and Michael Andretti. All from the Green organisation. And it's looking pretty strong that one of them will do it again today. Word from the pits, he is coming in this time round. Paul Tracy will pit on this lap. Turn 10. as he comes up towards turn 11. He should shoot straight on. Coming straight towards us now, he is in the pits. So the race leader is in with a 17.2 second margin over his teammate Dario Franchitti. This is the last stop of the race for Paul Tracy. How would you like to be the crew?
Yeah, the pressure's on here.
They do a wonderful job.
Rick Havison and the boys there on that car. They got the wheels changed already, just ready for the last stretch of fuel. Away goes Paul Tracy.
Keeping the Canadian crowd on the edge of their seats here at Concord Pacific Place. And he rejoins the circuit with Michael Andretti there, his technical teammate, who is well down the order, some 6 laps behind. But as we mentioned earlier, it's important to keep going in these races, especially with the attrition rate. Andretti is in a point scoring position, albeit 6 laps down. He's in 10th.
There is Paul Tracy. I'm pretty sure he's behind his teammate Dario Franchitti, but he's certainly well clear of Tony Kanaan. Absolutely no pressure from 3rd place. There is Dario Franchitti. He's coming through turn 9 there into turn 10, the Science World chicane there. He's well clear of Tracy. Dario Franchitti, the new race leader. Just 15 laps to go.
And down to complete another lap for Franchitti. He is on his way home. We'll tell you the margin back to Paul Tracy when Paul crosses the start-finish line very shortly. There's a massive margin back to Tony Kanaan. 11 seconds, 11.6 seconds with 14 laps to go. Top end of the circuit. That's turn 6 again. We understand he's spun. You can see there the tyre marks going into the tyre barrier.
And we've got 9 laps to go.
We are on it, and look at this. Fernandez dives on the inside on Tagliani, not quite close enough. Meanwhile, back up front, Dario has made a good restart. He's got a good early jump on his teammate Paul Tracy. Kanaan is hanging in there as well. Where is Carpentier? Has he been able to go with the Monan Racing pilot? No, he hasn't. He's got Jourdain all over him.
Whoa, he's lost it. That's Carpentier. Come on, boys, let's have a look at this.
Patrick Carpentier, massive crash. Fernandez is involved as well.
And so is Bruno Junqueira. Boy, that was a big lose by Patrick Carpentier. That is the fastest part of the course, and the cars are going through that absolutely flat out. We've been on board with several guys. Here we are, here's Patrick. It was Tagliani that lost it. Is it Tagliani that lost it?
That's live.
Oh, that is live.
That shot is live.
Okay,
both
fine.
players' cars have gone. Wow. What confusion at the end of this race. Unbelievable scenes here in Vancouver.
Poor old
With
Bruno
less than
Junqueira.
10 laps to go, we've lost both players' cars, Junqueira and Adrian Fernandez.
In
Wow.
spectacular style too. That was a huge crash in turn 5.
Well,
He is too.
it was Tagliani who spun early on,
No,
and we must say this is Patrick Carpentier. So it was further back in the pack because Fernandez was behind Alex Tagliani.
No, you see, it was Patrick Carpentier. I thought so. It was Carpentier, and he virtually didn't hit anything. So Tagliani was a couple of cars behind him. There goes Jourdain. He was right behind Patrick. Here's another view of it. You can see Jourdain picking his way through, and look at that. It looks. I think what happened to Tagliani is that Fernandez was unsighted behind him. Fernandez hit the back of Tagliani's car and threw Tagliani into the wall. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. What a disaster. Then Tagliani, he's lost that left front suspension. No brakes on that car. Here is Jourdain coming through the corner, and here now with no brakes. Well, that's Patrick Carpentier. Okay, he'd managed to survive that spin incredibly. And, oh my goodness me.
What a crazy end to this race, and they have red flagged the race. They have red flagged the race with 8 laps to go.
That's one thing they said they would do at the start of the season. If they saw a situation where they might not be able to finish the race under green flag conditions, and certainly with debris there in the fastest part of the course, it would have been a lengthy period of a stoppage. So they're going to try, I think, and restart this race. What they're going to do is red flag it now, bring the cars to a halt, and assuming there's enough time left, then they will try to restart it and go to the end of the race under green. We just have to wait for official word on that.
2 laps around the circuit, and then they will be shown the green.
Now we're getting ready to go back to green. It's fairly cool here. It's going to be difficult to get temperature into these tyres.
Here we go, the final 6 laps. Dario Franchitti, and look at the fight for third. Canaan and Jourdain lock it up in turn 1. The Mexican really putting the pressure on the Brazilian. Through turn 3 they go. It's the 2 Team Cool Green guys up front. Dario Franchitti, Paul Tracy. There goes Dario. He's certainly got the jump on his teammate, and Jourdain is all over Canaan.
Michel Jourdain Jr. is very racy indeed. He's really pushing Tony Canaan. He lagged behind a little bit going into turn 5. That was a pretty smart move by Jourdain. Here they are though. Here's Dario Franchitti. He's got a good lead over Paul Tracy, and there's that battle for third. Canaan and Jourdain.
Well, it seems to happen on even years. 1998, Dario won here. 2000, Paul Tracy won here. Now Team Cool Green's turn yet again.
Tony Canaan is slithering and sliding around. He's really struggling to keep Jourdain behind him, but this is not a place that Jourdain can make a move. He's not going to be able to make a move before they get onto the start-finish line. Tony Canaan is really moving around to block Michel Jourdain Jr., and the race officials upstairs are not going to like that. If he continues to be blocking and moving around like that, they're going to tell him to get out of the way or take a penalty. But now, this is the crucial corner. Here we are on board with Carpentier. Can he take advantage of those two dicing amongst themselves ahead of him?
Michel Jourdain Jr. has only ever had 1 podium finish in his career, and that was 3rd at Michigan last year. He's got another podium on the line here, but here comes Carpentier. 4 laps left of the Vancouver circuit, and the pressure is on for that last spot on the podium.
And Tony Canaan did a good job there to get off turn 12 well, able to maintain that advantage ahead of Jourdain into turn 1.
There's your race leader, 1st and 2nd. Franchitti has 2.5 seconds over Paul Tracy. Defensive line from Jourdain. He doesn't want to lose that 4th. Canaan is creeping away, but Carpentier is driving with everything he's got. He had a look on the inside of Michel Jourdain Jr. then. Let's see what happens as they pop out, coming out of turn 7 and 8. Not quite close enough yet.
Is being closed upon by Tony Canaan.
Canaan going hard, so too Jourdain and Carpentier. Mario Dominguez in the background there. He'll pick up more valuable championship points. So we're within 2 laps from the finish of this one. It's been a very interesting race, and the attrition rate has just been incredible through mechanical and collision failures.
Paul Tracy now is beginning to come under pressure from Tony Canaan, and last lap around they were doing 1:07.7, so I think there's a lot of slippery stuff there. Oil dry down probably in turn 5, and that's making it very, very difficult for these drivers to build the heat, build the pressures, the air pressure into these Bridgestone Potenza tyres. They are struggling a bit, and it is going to be quite a battle to the end of this race.
There it is, through turn 10 for the 2nd last time. When Dario Franchitti brings it onto the main straight, which he is doing right now, he sees the white flag from Jim Swintel. 1 to go for Dario Franchitti and Paul Tracy. The pressure is still on Canaan for that 3rd spot, but we're almost assured of a Team Cool Green 1-2 for the first time in 2 years. They are on their way home. And we mentioned right at the top of the show that this man said he's had a great car all weekend. They've run on a different strategy, and the one that Dario's team called for him has worked the best. The top end of the circuit, out of turn 8 for the final time. It's been a year since Dario Franchitti has enjoyed being on the top step of the podium. It was the Burke Lakefront Airport in Cleveland last year when he enjoyed seeing that checkered flag with a clear track ahead. Now he comes through turn 11, turn 12. It's been an incredible race in Vancouver, and it's simply been Dario's day. Franchitti wins. There's his father George and wife Ashley Judd. They celebrate, and it's a Team Cool Green 1-2. Sensational stuff. So 98, 2000 and 2002 for Team Cool Green. That's Franchitti's 2nd win on the streets of Vancouver, and the team's 2nd 1-2 here in Vancouver. Well done to Dario Franchitti. Tony Canaan deserves congratulations as well. A stunning drive to third. Michel Jourdain Jr. from last on the grid to fourth, and Patrick Carpentier finishing in the top 5. Andretti finished in 6th, and Mario Dominguez finishing in 10th. His best of the season. But there he is, your race winner, Dario Franchitti, and an all-Honda podium. From the results to the points, let's take a look at the standings in the Kart FedEx Championship Series, because that man on the left, Dario Franchitti, has climbed up the order. Cristiano D'Amato still leads the way and grabbed that extra point. He now has 122 and 84 to Dario Franchitti, and more importantly, second position. He leapfrogs Bruno Junqueira. Jourdain is tied there with Bruno Junqueira, and Patrick Carpentier in there as well. Tracy rockets from 11th to 6th, and Kenny Brack, no points, but points for Michael Andretti. He comes up into the order as well.
And I'm with the third place finisher, Tony Kanaan. Boy, what a season this has been for you, but what a great result.
Wow, I told you I wasn't giving up, and it was a great team effort. I'm happy. I'm happy for Dario. I'm happy for Honda, top 3, and for sure Greg was up there. Dario deserved that, and Greg, thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, Tony, you had a tough race. It looked like for a while in the middle of the race you were really struggling. Towards the end there too, a lot of pressure from Michel Jourdain.
Oh, we've been struggling, man. We've been struggling forever. So doesn't matter now. It's a podium finish. We know what to do. We're going to try to fix this car, and let's go forward. I mean, I need to say hi to Zanardi. Zanardi, I told you. I told you.
And the 10th round of the FedEx Championship Series has thrown up one of the most incredible races of the year. Let's hear from the race winner.
And Dario Franchitti and his wife Ashley is giving a big hug there to Paul Tracy. But Dario, what a great result for Team Cool Green. You've had so much disappointment these last few races, and it all came good for you today. Bit of redemption from 2 years ago as well, huh?
Yeah, just a bit. That was definitely in the back of my mind there in the closing laps. What a great day. You know, the team worked really well. I think Cristiano, Paul and I were reasonably close on pace, but you know, with Cristiano having his problem, Paul picking the wrong strategy, or Paul's guys, it was just, you know, really worked for us today. You know, it's about time we got some payback. This is it. Feels good, especially to do it here in Vancouver.
Yeah, a lot of memories here in Vancouver, of course, for you, Dario. Your big buddy Greg Moore was from this area. A lot of emotion this weekend. You've got to feel so good.
Feels great, I tell you. Feels just amazing to have Tony and Paul on the podium with me. We're going to have some fun tonight.
We certainly hope you enjoyed the action from Vancouver. Don't forget, in the break in between now and Mid-Ohio, you can stay up to date with all of the information in Champ Cars on kart.com, Kart's official website. On behalf of Jeremy Shaw, the entire team, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in Mid-Ohio.
And I've waited 2 years to say this.